The night Monica told me I'd be sleeping on the couch, I knew our marriage had finally reached its expiration date. Not because of the couch. Hell, I'd slept on worse during my army days. But because of the smug little smile playing at the corners of her mouth when she said it. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. You're sleeping on the couch until you apologize properly, Jack. I stood there in our kitchen, dish towel still in my hands from drying the dinner plates she'd left for me to clean. Again. The offense? I'd laughed at something Gina said at the shop. Gina, my employee of 5 years, happily married with 3 kids, had made a joke about a customer's ridiculous request to paint flames on a Honda Civic. Monica had stopped by to drop off my forgotten lunch, which I hadn't forgotten. I deliberately left it because her tuna sandwiches tasted like punishment, and witnessed this heinous crime of workplace camaraderie. Sure thing, Monica, I said, folding the towel with deliberate care. Her smile faltered. Just a flicker, but I caught it. She'd expected a fight, maybe some begging. That's how this game usually went. Monica would manufacture some grievance, I'd grovel, she'd graciously forgive me, and the natural order of her universe would be restored with her firmly on the throne. Not this time. What did you say? Her voice had that dangerous edge, the one that used to make my stomach clench. I said, sure. The couch sounds fine. I hung the towel on the oven handle and grabbed my phone from the counter. I'll grab a pillow. That's it? No apology? No explanation? I paused at the kitchen doorway, looked back at her standing there in her expensive yoga pants. She hadn't actually done yoga in 2 years. And her designer top that cost more than my employees made in a day. Her blonde hair was pulled back in that severe ponytail she wore when she meant business, her arms crossed, waiting for me to crack. Nope, I said. Good night, Monica. I heard the wine glass shatter against the wall about 3 seconds after I left the room. That was 3 weeks ago. The couch lasted exactly 1 night before I realized something profound. I didn't actually have to sleep on the couch. We had a guest room. It had been Monica's future craft room for 4 years, filled with untouched scrapbooking supplies and a sewing machine still in its box. She'd lost interest after buying everything, as usual, so I moved in. Then I improved it. Pete, my buddy who ran Callahan's bar downtown, knew a guy who knew a guy, and suddenly I had soundproofing foam panels for cheap. Big Mike from my shop helped me haul in the old recliner from my office. The good one, broken in just right. I mounted the 55-inch TV that had been too big and tacky for the living room, according to Monica. Added a mini fridge, a decent sound system, and blackout curtains, my sanctuary. I even installed a lock, a good deadbolt that Monica didn't have a key for. The transformation didn't happen overnight, and Monica barely noticed at first. She was too busy with her own life, her hospital HR job, her spin class, her wine nights with Trish, her mysterious evening meetings that ran later and later. She'd check in occasionally, expecting to find me miserable and apologetic. Still on the couch, Jack? She'd ask with fake concern. Yep, still there, I'd reply, not mentioning that my couch now had a memory foam mattress topper and sheets with a higher thread count than our actual bed. I should have seen the signs earlier, the affair signs. They were all there, glowing like neon in hindsight. The new lingerie that I never saw her wear around me. The sudden interest in going to the gym. Not spin class, but the actual gym across town. The way she'd angle her phone away when texting, that little smile playing on her lips. But honestly, I was too comfortable in my new space to care much. My sanctuary became my refuge. After 10-hour days at Holbrook Auto Repair, dealing with customers who thought their check engine light was a suggestion and suppliers who couldn't deliver parts on time, I'd come home to my own space. No judgments, no passive-aggressive comments about my clothes on the floor or my choice of TV shows. Monica hated it. I could tell by the way she started accidentally unplugging my mini-fridge, or how she'd conveniently forget to tell me about bills that needed paying. Little power plays, testing to see if I'd come crawling back. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. I'd just gotten home from the shop, covered in the honest grime of a day spent replacing a transmission on a '98 Silverado. Monica was in the kitchen, already 2 glasses deep into her nightly Chardonnay, with Trish perched on a bar stool like a vulture in Lululemon. Trish, Monica's work friend, twice divorced, professionally bitter, and always stirring the pot. She looked at me like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. "Oh, Jack's home," Trish said, her voice dripping with disdain. "Surprised you still live here?" "Trish," I nodded, heading for the hallway. "We were just talking about you," Monica called out. "About how you've completely checked out of this marriage." I stopped, turned back. They both sat there, wine glasses in hand, united in their judgment. "That's funny," I said. "I was thinking the same thing about you." Monica's eyes narrowed. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Means exactly what I said. You wanted me out of your bedroom, I'm out. You wanted space, you got it. I'm just following your rules, Monica." "That's not... You're supposed to..." she sputtered, and I realized with sudden clarity that she'd never actually thought this through. In her mind, I was supposed to suffer, to beg for forgiveness, to prove my devotion by enduring her punishment. Instead, I'd gotten comfortable. "I'm going to grab a shower," I said. "Trish, always a displeasure." I heard them whispering urgently as I walked away, but I didn't care. The hot water washed away the day's grime, and I stood there thinking about how much my life had changed in 3 weeks, how much lighter I felt without the constant weight of Monica's expectations and criticisms. After my shower, I headed to my sanctuary, locked the door, and settled into my recliner with a cold beer and a frozen pizza I'd cooked in the toaster oven I'd added to my growing collection of amenities. I was halfway through an episode of a show Monica hated when I heard the pounding on the door. "Jack, open this door." I turned up the volume slightly. The pounding intensified. "Jack Holbrook, you open this door right now." I paused my show, took a long drink of my beer, and walked to the door. I didn't open it. "What's up, Monica?" "What's up? What's up? You locked the door." "Yep." "You can't lock doors in our house." "It's my room, my door, my lock." Silence. I could practically hear her brain short-circuiting. "This is ridiculous, Jack. You're being childish." Says the woman who sent me to the couch for laughing at a joke. "That's not... You were flirting." "I was laughing, Monica, at work, with an employee, about a car. But sure, let's call it flirting if that makes you feel better about whatever it is you're actually mad about." More silence. Then, "I want you to come out here and talk to me like an adult." "I'm good in here, thanks. Got everything I need." "Jack..." "Monica, you made the rules. I'm just playing the game. You wanted me out of your space, I'm out. Permanently. Good night." I heard her gasp, then footsteps stomping away. Trish's voice murmured something I couldn't make out, then Monica's raised voice. "He's probably seeing someone. That's what this is?" I smiled, settled back into my recliner, and unpaused my show. The irony was delicious. The dashcam was Pete's idea. "Look, Jack," he'd said one night at the bar, wiping down the counter with the same rag he'd been using for probably 3 years. "I'm not saying your wife is stepping out, but I'm also not saying it. And if she is, you want proof. Trust me on this." Pete had been through 2 divorces himself, both expensive lessons in the importance of documentation. He'd installed dash cams in both his vehicles after wife number 2 had tried to claim he was stalking her when he'd simply driven past her and her boyfriend at the mall. "It's not illegal," he continued. "It's your car too, right? Both names on the registration?" "Yeah, but Monica drives it more. I usually take the truck." "Even better. Install it, don't tell her, and just let it run. If nothing's happening, you delete the footage and no harm done. If something is happening..." He shrugged. "Better to know." I'd installed it the next day, a small unit tucked up behind the rearview mirror, barely visible. Monica never noticed. Why would she? She barely looked at me anymore, let alone the car's interior details. For 2 weeks, the footage showed nothing but Monica's commute to the hospital, stops at the grocery store, the occasional trip to the mall. I almost felt guilty for suspecting her. Then came the gym. She'd mentioned joining a new gym, something about better equipment, and a trainer who came highly recommended. Tyler's Fitness Factory, an aggressively masculine name for a place that was really just a converted warehouse with weights and mirrors. The first time she went, the dashcam caught her parking, going inside, coming out 90 minutes later looking flushed and happy. Normal gym stuff. The second time, she parked in the back of the lot. The third time, she parked in the back lot and someone got in the car with her. I watched the footage on my laptop in my sanctuary, beer forgotten on the side table. The angle wasn't perfect, but it was clear enough. A guy, mid-30s, built like he lived at the gym, with that particular brand of confidence that comes from spending too much time looking at your own reflection. He slid into the passenger seat, and Monica immediately leaned over. They were kissing within 5 seconds. I watched them make out like teenagers for a solid 10 minutes before they finally came up for air. She was laughing, touching his arm, his chest. He was grinning, clearly pleased with himself. They talked for a few more minutes, then he got out, flexed, and jogged back toward the gym. Monica sat there for a moment, fixing her hair in the mirror, reapplying lipstick. Then she drove home, where she'd walk in and barely acknowledge my existence. I replayed the footage 3 times, not out of heartbreak, but out of a growing sense of clarity. This wasn't a surprise. This was confirmation. "Well," I said to my empty room, "that's that." I copied the footage to 3 different drives, uploaded it to a secure cloud account, and sent a copy to Pete with a simple message. You were right. His response came immediately. Sorry, brother. What are you going to do? Good question. The old Jack, the one who'd spent 10 years trying to make Monica happy, would have confronted her immediately. There would have been tears, accusations, maybe even an attempt at reconciliation, but that Jack had died somewhere around week 2 of sleeping on the couch. The new Jack, the one who'd built a sanctuary and found peace in separation, had different ideas. I decided to wait, to watch, to gather more evidence, and to have a little fun. The next day, I drove past Tyler's fitness factory on my lunch break. The place was exactly what I'd expected. Lots of chrome, motivational posters, and a wall of windows so everyone could watch everyone else work out. The sign out front advertised, Personal Training with Ty Malone. Transform your life. Ty Malone. Of course his name was Ty. I sat in my truck across the street, eating a sandwich from the deli, and watched the entrance. Around 1 o'clock, he emerged, all muscles and swagger, wearing a tank top despite the 40-degree weather. He was with another guy, similarly built, both of them laughing too loud at something. Ty walked to a car in the front row, a bright red Mustang with custom rims and a spoiler that served no purpose except to announce that its owner had more money than taste. Vanity plate, Tim Malone. I actually laughed out loud. This was Monica's great romance, this walking cliché. But as I watched him drive away, engine roaring unnecessarily, I felt something shift inside me. Not jealousy, not even anger. Something colder, more calculated. Monica had made her choice. She'd chosen to betray our marriage, to sneak around, to make me the fool while she played house with a gym rat named Ty. Now I'd make my choices. That evening, I stopped at the hardware store on my way home. Bought a valve stem tool, the kind used for tire repairs. Pocket-sized, inconspicuous, perfectly legal to own. Around 11 that night, after Monica had gone to bed and the house was quiet, I drove to the gym. The parking lot was empty except for a few cars, including Ty's Mustang, parked prominently under a light like it was on display. I walked past it casually, hands in my pockets. On the way back, I paused, looked around, and quickly unscrewed the valve stem on his rear driver's side tire. Not removed, just loosened enough that it would slowly leak. He'd wake up to a flat, nothing more. On the hood, I used my key to scratch a single word. Homewrecker. Then I drove home, parked, and went to my sanctuary. I slept better than I had in months. The next morning, Monica was on her phone at breakfast, trying not to smile. I pretended not to notice, eating my cereal and reading the news on my tablet. Everything okay? I asked casually. What? Oh, yes, fine. She put her phone down quickly. Just work stuff. She left for the hospital 20 minutes later, and I headed to the shop. Big Mike was already there, working on an oil change, his massive frame somehow fitting under a compact sedan. Boss, he called out when he heard me come in. We got that parts delivery yet for the Anderson job? Should be here by noon, I said, checking the schedule. How's the sedan looking? Easy money, oil change, tire rotation, basic inspection, customers picking it up at 3. Gina arrived a few minutes later, carrying coffee for everyone, a ritual she'd started years ago that Monica had always found inappropriate, despite Gina doing it for the whole shop, not just me. Morning, gentlemen, she said, handing out cups. Jack, you look suspiciously cheerful. What did you do? Me? Nothing, just enjoying the day. Uh-huh. She gave me a knowing look. You've got that look, the one you get when you figured out something clever. I have no idea what you're talking about. Big Mike emerged from under the sedan. He's definitely done something. $20 says it involves Monica. No bet, Gina said. That's a sucker's wager. I just smiled and sipped my coffee. Around noon, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I opened it to find a photo of Ty's Mustang, the word homewrecker clearly visible on the hood, with a message. Was this you? I didn't respond. Another text came through. I know where you work. I replied. Cool. I know where you work too, and who you work with, and who you're working on. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, we should talk. No thanks, but you should probably get your car fixed. That scratch might rust. I blocked the number and went back to work. That evening, Monica came home in a fury. Did you vandalize someone's car? She demanded, storming into the kitchen where I was making dinner, for myself, since Monica had stopped cooking months ago. Hello to you too, dear. How was your day? Jack, I'm serious. Did you key someone's car? I looked at her, stirring my pasta sauce with deliberate calm. Why would I do that? I don't even know whose car you're talking about. You... She stopped, realizing she'd almost revealed too much. Never mind. No, please, continue. Whose car am I supposed to have vandalized? Her face flushed. Just someone from the gym. There was an incident in the parking lot. That's terrible. Did they call the police? I don't know. Probably. Well, if they do, I'm sure the security cameras will show who did it. Gyms have cameras, right? Parking lots too, usually. I smiled at her. Nothing to worry about if you've got nothing to hide. She stared at me, and I could see the wheels turning. She was trying to figure out how much I knew, what I'd done, what I was planning. I'm going upstairs, she finally said. Enjoy your evening, Monica. After she left, I plated my pasta, grabbed a beer, and headed to my sanctuary. I had more dashcam footage to review, and I was starting to enjoy my new hobby. The footage from the following week was a goldmine. Monica and Ty had gotten bolder, or maybe just more careless. The dashcam caught them meeting 3 more times, including one session where they'd steamed up the windows so thoroughly I couldn't see anything except shadows and movement. But the audio was clear enough. The car's microphone picked up every breathless word, every promise, every plan they were making. They were talking about me. He's such a loser, Monica's voice slightly muffled. Spends all his time in that stupid room, playing with his toys like a child. Why don't you just leave him? Ty's voice, cocky and confident. It's not that simple. The house is in both our names, and his shop is worth something. If I leave now, I get nothing. But if he leaves me, or if I can prove he's been emotionally abusive, neglectful... She trailed off, but the implication was clear. So what's the plan? I'm documenting everything. His isolation, his refusal to engage with the marriage, his coldness. I've been talking to Trish about it, and she agrees. I've got a case. When the time is right, I'll file. Get the house, probably a chunk of the business, and then... She laughed. Then we can do whatever we want. I sat in my recliner, listening to my wife plot my destruction, and felt absolutely nothing except a cold, calculating anger. She wanted to play games? Fine. But she'd forgotten who she was playing with. I'd built a successful business from nothing. I'd survived a deployment in Afghanistan. I'd rebuilt engines, negotiated with difficult suppliers, and handled customers who made Monica look like an amateur in the manipulation department. She was out of her league. The next day, I called Pete. I need a favor, I said. And it might be a weird one. Brother, after 2 divorces and 15 years running a bar, I guarantee I've heard weirder. Shoot. I need to know everything about Tyler's Fitness Factory. Who owns it, who works there, what the local gossip is, and specifically everything about Ty Malone. Pete was quiet for a moment. You want me to dig into your wife's boyfriend. I want you to help me understand the full picture. Consider it done. Give me 48 hours. He called me back in 24. Jack, buddy, you're going to love this. Pete sounded almost gleeful. First, the gym is barely breaking even. Ty's a part owner, but his business partner is carrying most of the financial load. Second, Ty's got a reputation. This ain't his first rodeo with a married woman. He's been through at least 3 that I could confirm, maybe more. Always the same pattern. Finds a woman who's unhappy, plays the hero, makes promises, then moves on when things get complicated. What kind of promises? The usual. Leave your husband, we'll start fresh, I'll take care of you. But here's the kicker. He's broke. Lives in a rented apartment, the Mustang is leased, and he's got debt up to his eyeballs. The guy's all show, no substance. And Monica doesn't know this? Would it matter if she did? She's not looking at his bank account, Jack. She's looking at his abs. Fair point. There's more, Pete continued. Ty's got a buddy, Vince, who works at the gym. Big mouth, loves to brag. He's been telling anyone who will listen about Ty's latest conquest. His word, not mine. Some hot blonde from the hospital. Been showing people pictures Ty sent him. My hand tightened on the phone. Pictures? Yeah. Nothing too explicit from what I hear, but enough. Gym selfies, that kind of thing. But Jack, here's the thing. Everyone knows. Or at least, everyone in that circle. It's not a secret. They're just waiting for the drama to explode. Then let's give them a show, I said. Pete laughed. What are you thinking? I'm thinking it's time to stop being subtle. That night, I created a fake social media account. Generic name, stock photo, no followers. Then I started following people connected to Tyler's Fitness Factory. Employees, regular customers, Vince especially. Within an hour, Vince accepted the follow request. His profile was public, and it was exactly what I expected. Gym selfies, protein shake promotions, and lots of pictures with Ty. Bros being bros. I scrolled back through his posts looking for anything useful. Found it in a post from 3 weeks ago. Ty and Vince at a bar, arms around each other's shoulders, huge grins. The location tag said, Lucky's Motel Bar. Lucky's Motel. I knew the place, a rundown joint on the edge of town, the kind of place that rented rooms by the hour and didn't ask questions. The bar attached to it was equally seedy, frequented by locals who wanted to drink without being seen by their neighbors. I kept scrolling and found more posts from Lucky's. Ty was a regular there, apparently, including one post from just last week, time-stamped at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, the same Tuesday Monica had claimed to be working late. Interesting. I called Pete again. You ever been to Lucky's? The motel? Once or twice, back in my wilder days. Why? You know the owner? Sid? Yeah, I know him. Greasy little guy, but he's harmless. Runs the place, tends the bar, minds his own business unless there's money and not minding it. Think he'd be willing to answer some questions? For the right price, Sid would answer questions about his own mother. What do you need? I need to know if Ty Malone has been renting rooms there, and if so, who he's been renting them with. Pete whistled low. You want me to get proof of the affair? I want to know the truth, all of it. Give me a couple days. 3 days later, I met Pete at Callahan's after closing time. He slid a manila folder across the bar to me. Sid was very cooperative, Pete said, especially after I reminded him that his liquor license comes up for renewal soon, and that I know some people on the board. I opened the folder. Inside were photocopies of motel registration cards, all in Ty's handwriting, dating back 3 months. Different dates, always late evening check-ins, always the same room, number 7, apparently Ty's favorite, and security camera screenshots. Grainy, black and white, but clear enough. Ty's Mustang in the parking lot. Ty and Monica walking into room 7. Ty and Monica leaving room 7. Timestamps, dates, everything documented. Sid keeps records, I asked. Sid keeps everything. Never know when you might need leverage, he says. That's a copy. He's got the originals in his safe. For insurance, he says. I looked at the evidence in front of me. This was it. This was everything I needed for a divorce that would leave Monica with nothing. Proof of adultery, premeditation, the works. But as I sat there, looking at the photos of my wife sneaking into a cheap motel room with her gym trainer boyfriend, I realized something. A divorce wasn't enough. I didn't want to just end the marriage. I wanted them to lose everything, the way they'd planned for me to lose everything. I wanted revenge. Pete, I said slowly, how many people come through Callahan's on a Friday night? Packed house. Probably 100, 150 people. Why? And they all know me? Jack, you've been coming here for 15 years. You're a local business owner. Everyone knows you. And they all love gossip? Pete grinned. Brother, gossip is our town's primary export. What are you planning? I'm planning to give everyone a show they'll never forget. The plan came together over the next week, piece by piece, like rebuilding an engine. Every component had to fit perfectly, every timing had to be exact, or the whole thing would fall apart. First, I needed to get Monica and Ty to the motel at a specific time. That required manipulation, but subtle manipulation. The kind they wouldn't see coming. I started by being nicer to Monica. Not overly nice. That would raise suspicion, but just slightly less cold. I'd ask about her day, make dinner for both of us occasionally, even suggest we watch a movie together, which she declined, but the offer was noted. She was confused at first, then suspicious, then cautiously optimistic. I could see her thinking that maybe her plan was working, that I was coming around, that she'd worn me down. Perfect. Meanwhile, I had Pete spread a rumor at the bar. Nothing too obvious, just a casual comment to the right people that Jack Holbrook was thinking about selling the shop and moving out of state, starting fresh somewhere new. The rumor reached Monica within 48 hours, courtesy of Mrs. Calloway, our neighbor who spent her retirement years watching everyone's business like it was her job. Jack, is it true you're thinking of selling the shop? Monica asked that evening, trying to sound casual but failing. Where'd you hear that? Mrs. Calloway mentioned it. She said people were talking. I shrugged. I've thought about it. The shop's worth good money, and I'm tired of this town. Might be time for a change. But you love that shop. You built it from nothing. Things change, Monica. People change. I looked at her directly. Marriages change. She looked away first. Well, that's a big decision. Yeah, I'm meeting with a business broker next week, just to see what my options are. This was a lie, of course. I had no intention of selling Holbrook Auto Repair, but Monica didn't know that, and I could see the wheels turning in her head. If I sold the shop and left town, her whole plan fell apart. She needed me here, needed me to be the bad guy, needed me to play my role in her narrative. That evening, I accidentally left my laptop open in the living room while I went to grab a beer from the kitchen. On the screen was an email I'd drafted to myself, supposedly from a business broker, discussing preliminary valuations and market conditions. When I came back, Monica was standing suspiciously close to the laptop, phone in hand. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Fine, just looking for my charger." "It's in your purse." "Right, of course." She grabbed her purse and hurried upstairs. I closed the laptop and smiled. She'd taken the bait. That night, I checked the dashcam footage and confirmed what I'd suspected. Monica had driven to the gym after I'd gone to my sanctuary, meeting with Ty in the parking lot for an urgent conversation. She'd stayed in his car for over an hour. The next morning, I got a text from an unknown number. "We need to talk. Meet me at Lucky's tonight, 9 p.m. Room 7. I recognized Ty's number from Monica's text history. I'd cloned her phone a week ago using software Pete's tech-savvy nephew had provided. The kid had made me promise I'd never tell anyone where I got it, and I'd agreed. Some tools were too useful to reveal. I didn't respond to Ty's text immediately. Let him sweat for a few hours. Around noon, I replied, "Why would I meet you?" His response was immediate. "Because we both want the same thing, to end this cleanly, no lawyers, no drama." What's in it for me? A clean exit. You walk away, no contest on the divorce, and everyone moves on with their lives. I almost laughed. He actually thought I was stupid enough to fall for this. They were planning an ambush, probably had some scheme to record me threatening them or getting violent, something they could use in court. "Fine," I texted back. 9 p.m., come alone. Same to you. I had no intention of coming alone, but they didn't need to know that. I called Pete. "It's happening. Friday night, 9 p.m., Lucky's Motel Room 7. "What do you need?" "I need you to bring your regulars to Lucky's bar at 8:30. Tell them drinks are half price for an hour. Pack the place." "That'll cost me." "I'll cover it. Every penny." "Jack, what are you planning?" "Trust me, Pete. This is going to be worth it." Next, I called Lisa Cray, my detective friend from high school. We'd stayed in touch over the years, mostly running into each other at Callahan's or around town. She was good people, smart, sarcastic, and completely unimpressed by anyone's bullshit. "Lisa, I need a favor." "Why do I feel like I'm going to regret this?" she said, but I could hear the smile in her voice. "I need you to be at Lucky's Motel on Friday night around 9. Off duty, just as a witness." "A witness to what?" "Justice." "Jack, Lisa, I promise you, this is legal. Completely legal. I'm not going to hurt anyone. I'm not going to break any laws. I just need someone official to be there to confirm that fact." She was quiet for a moment. "This is about Monica." "Yeah." "And her gym rat boyfriend." "You know about him?" "Jack, everyone knows. Half the department knows. We've been waiting for you to do something stupid." "I'm not going to do something stupid. I'm going to do something smart." "Those two things aren't mutually exclusive in your case." "Will you be there?" She sighed. "Fine. But if this goes sideways, I'm arresting you first and asking questions later. Deal." The last piece of the puzzle was the technical setup. I needed audio and video of what was about to happen, but I needed it to be legal. That meant I had to be a participant in the conversation, not just recording other people without their knowledge. I drove to Lucky's on Thursday afternoon and found Sid in his office, a cramped room behind the front desk that smelled like cigarettes and desperation. "Sid, I need to rent room 7 for tomorrow night." He looked up from his racing form. "Thought you were coming to meet someone there." "I am, but I want to rent it first. I want to be the one who controls the space." His eyes narrowed. "You planning something?" "I'm planning to have a conversation. A private conversation that I want recorded, for my own protection." "Recording's illegal without consent in this state." "Not if I'm part of the conversation, and not if I inform them they're being recorded." He considered this. "How much?" $500 for the room rental and your discretion." "Make it 1,000 and I'll forget I ever saw you." "Deal." That evening, I set up my equipment. A small camera hidden in the smoke detector, another in the bathroom pointed at the main room, and a voice recorder in my jacket pocket. Everything was legal, everything was documented, and everything was about to be revealed. A Friday morning, Monica was nervous. I could tell by the way she kept checking her phone, biting her lip, avoiding eye contact. "You okay?" I asked over breakfast. Fine, just a long day ahead. Want to grab dinner tonight? Maybe try that new Italian place? She looked startled. Tonight? I can't. I have plans. Plans? With Trish. Girls' night. Right, girls' night. I smiled. Have fun. She left for work looking relieved, probably thinking she'd dodged a bullet. I went to the shop and tried to focus on work, but my mind was on the evening ahead. Big Mike noticed. Boss, you're a million miles away. What's going on? Just thinking about some things I need to take care of tonight. This about Monica. I looked at him. How much do you know? He shrugged his massive shoulders. Enough. Gina and I, we've been worried about you. We know things haven't been good at home. They're about to get a lot worse, I said. But then they're going to get a lot better. Gina came over, wiping her hands on a rag. Jack, whatever you're planning, be careful. Monica's vindictive. She'll try to destroy you if she feels cornered. I know. That's why I'm not cornering her. I'm exposing her. They exchanged glances. We've got your back, Big Mike said. Whatever you need. I appreciate that, but this is something I need to do myself. At 8 p.m., I drove to Lucky's. The parking lot was already filling up. Pete had spread the word about the drink specials, and people were arriving in droves. The bar attached to the motel was packed, exactly as planned. I parked my truck in the back, away from the main lot, and walked to room 7. Used my key to let myself in. The room was exactly as depressing as I remembered from my setup visit. Brown carpet, faded bedspread, furniture that looked like it had been salvaged from a 1970s garage sale. But it would do. I checked my cameras, made sure everything was recording, and settled in to wait. At 8:50, I heard a car pull up, peeked through the curtain and saw Ty's Mustang. He got out, looked around nervously, then walked to the room. Knocked. I opened the door. Jack, he said, trying to sound confident but not quite pulling it off. Ty, come on in. He stepped inside, and I could see him taking in the room, looking for threats. He was wearing a tight t-shirt and jeans, probably trying to look intimidating with his muscles. Where's Monica? I asked. She's coming. Wanted me to talk to you first. Man to man. Sure, man to man. Have a seat. He sat on the edge of the bed, and I took the chair by the window. So, I said, you wanted to talk about my wife. Our situation, he corrected. Look, Jack, I know this is awkward. Awkward? That's the word you're going with? I just mean, Monica and I, we didn't plan this. It just happened. Things like this don't just happen, Ty. They're choices. You chose to pursue a married woman. She chose to cheat on her husband. Those are deliberate actions. He shifted uncomfortably. Look, I'm not trying to be a dick here. Too late. I just think we can handle this like adults. You and Monica, your marriage is over. Everyone can see that. Why drag it out? Why make it ugly? Who says it has to be ugly? Well, that's what I'm saying. If you just agree to a clean divorce, no fighting over assets, we can all move on. I leaned back in my chair. And what do I get out of this deal? Your freedom, a fresh start. While you get my wife, my house, and probably a chunk of my business? It doesn't have to be like that. But that's the plan, isn't it? That's what Monica's been telling you, that she's going to take me for everything, and then you two can ride off into the sunset together. His face flushed. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you don't. There was a knock at the door. Ty jumped up, opened it. Monica walked in, saw me sitting there, and froze. Jack, what are you... Ty, you said he wanted to meet to talk? He did, Ty said, confused. I did, I confirmed. Sit down, Monica. Let's all talk. Monica looked between me and Ty, her face cycling through confusion, fear, and finally settling on anger. What is this, Jack? Some kind of ambush? No ambush. Just a conversation. Isn't that what you wanted? To talk about our situation? I gestured to the other chair. Sit. She sat, perching on the edge like she might need to run at any moment. Ty stood behind her, trying to look protective, but mostly just looking uncomfortable. Before we start, I said, pulling out my phone, I should mention that this conversation is being recorded. Audio and video, just so we're all clear. You can't do that, Monica's voice went shrill. Actually, I can. I'm a participant in the conversation. I've informed you that you're being recorded, and I rented this room, so I have every right to record what happens in it. If you want to leave, you're welcome to, but if you stay, you're consenting to be recorded. She started to stand, but Ty put a hand on her shoulder. Wait, let's hear him out. Interesting. He wanted to know what I knew. Smart man, I said. So let's talk. Let's talk about how long you two have been sleeping together. 3 months? 4? Monica's face went pale. I don't know what you think you know. I know everything, Monica. I have dash cam footage of you two making out in the car. I have motel records showing you've been here a dozen times. I have text messages, photos, everything. So let's skip the denial phase and move straight to the honesty, okay? She looked at Ty, who looked away. Coward. Fine, she said, her voice cold. Yes, Ty and I have been seeing each other, and yes, I was going to ask for a divorce. You've been emotionally absent for months, Jack. You locked yourself in that stupid room and checked out of our marriage. What was I supposed to do? Not cheat, I suggested. That's usually the standard approach. You don't get to judge me. You stopped being a husband long before I found someone who actually appreciated me. I stopped being a husband after you sent me to the couch for laughing at a joke. But let's not argue about who did what first. Let's talk about your plan. What plan? The plan I heard you discussing on the dashcam audio, the one where you document my emotional abuse and neglect so you can file for divorce and take the house and the business. That plan. Her face went from pale to red. You had no right. I had every right. It's my car too, remember? But here's the thing, Monica. Your plan had a fatal flaw. What's that? You assumed I'd play along. You assumed I'd be the bad guy in your story, that I'd fight back and give you ammunition, but I didn't. I just built myself a nice room and left you alone. And while you were busy plotting my downfall, I was busy documenting yours. Ty finally spoke up. Look, man, this doesn't have to be a war. We can all walk away from this. Can we? Because from where I'm sitting, you two were planning to destroy me. Take my home, my business, my reputation, all so you could play house together. It's not like that, Monica said, but her voice lacked conviction. Then what is it like? Explain it to me. She looked down at her hands. I just wanted to be happy. At my expense. You weren't making me happy. So you cheated and lied and plotted. That's your version of taking the high road? What do you want, Jack? Ty asked. You want an apology? Fine. I'm sorry. We're both sorry, but Monica's right. Your marriage was over before I came into the picture. I just helped her see that. How noble of you. Tell me, Ty, does Monica know about your financial situation? His expression shifted. What? Does she know that you're broke? That the gym is barely breaking even? That your car is leased? That you're up to your eyeballs in debt? Or have you been selling her a different story? Monica turned to look at him. What's he talking about? Nothing. He's just trying to... I'm talking about the fact that your boyfriend here is a con artist. He's done this before, Monica. At least 3 times that I could confirm. Finds an unhappy married woman, plays the hero, makes promises about a future together, and then bails when things get complicated or when he realizes there's no money in it. That's not true, Ty's voice rose. I love Monica. You love what Monica represents. A meal ticket. A way out of your failing business and your mountain of debt. But here's the problem. I'm not giving her anything in the divorce. And without my money, she's not nearly as attractive, is she? Monica stood up. You're lying. You're just trying to turn me against him because you're jealous. Am I? Ask him, Monica. Ask him about the other women. Ask him about Jennifer from 2 years ago, or Sarah before that. Ask him how many times he's promised to leave town and start fresh with someone new. She turned to Ty. Tell him he's lying. Ty's silence was damning. Ty? Her voice cracked. Monica, listen, I can explain. Oh my God. She backed away from him. It's true. It's all true. No, it's not like that. I really do care about you. You used me. We used each other, Ty snapped, his nice guy mask finally slipping. You wanted out of your marriage. I wanted something better than what I had. That doesn't make me a bad person. Yes, it does, I said quietly. It makes you both bad people. But here's the good news. You're about to get exactly what you deserve. Monica turned to me. What does that mean? It means everyone's about to know the truth. See, while we've been in here talking, this conversation has been streaming live to a laptop in the bar next door. And that bar is currently packed with about 150 people from our town. Your coworkers, Monica, your boss, Ty's gym buddies, our neighbors, everyone. The color drained from both their faces. You didn't, Monica whispered. I did. And before you think about running, you should know that Detective Lisa Cray is in that bar too, making sure nobody does anything stupid. This is all perfectly legal, by the way. I informed you that you were being recorded, you chose to stay, and I have every right to show that recording to whoever I want. Monica lunged at me, hands reaching for my throat, but I was ready. I stepped aside, and she crashed into the chair. Ty grabbed her, pulled her back. You bastard, she screamed. You complete bastard. Yeah, I said. I am, but I'm an honest bastard, which is more than I can say for either of you. Ty was staring at the camera in the smoke detector, his face ashen. Everyone saw? Everything. Everything. Your plan to take my business. Your confession about using Monica. Her confession about the affair, all of it. You've ruined us, Monica said, tears streaming down her face. You've destroyed everything. No, Monica. You destroyed everything when you decided to cheat instead of just asking for a divorce. You destroyed everything when you plotted to take everything I've built. I just made sure everyone knew the truth. There was a knock at the door. I opened it to find Lisa Cray standing there, looking professionally neutral, but with a hint of a smile in her eyes. Everything okay in here? She asked. Everything's fine, Detective. Just having a conversation. She looked past me at Monica and Ty. I'm going to need you both to come with me, not under arrest, she added quickly. But there's a crowd outside that's getting pretty worked up, and I think it's best if we get you out of here safely. A crowd? Monica's voice was small. About 50 people from the bar came out when they saw what was streaming. They're not happy with you two. No threats of violence, but lots of shouting. I've called for backup to help disperse them. Monica looked at me with pure hatred. I hope you're happy. I'm getting there, I said. Lisa escorted them out through the back, where a patrol car was waiting. I stayed in the room, listening to the shouts and jeers from the parking lot. Someone had started chanting "Home Wrecker," and others had joined in. I packed up my equipment, wiped down the room, and left the key on the dresser. When I walked out, the crowd had mostly dispersed, but Pete was waiting by my truck. Jack, you magnificent bastard, he said, grinning. That was the most brutal thing I've ever seen. Too much? Not even close. They deserved every second of it. The whole bar was watching. When Monica admitted to planning to take your business, I thought Dr. Feld was going to have a stroke. He left immediately, said something about Monday morning meetings and termination procedures. She's going to lose her job. Brother, she's going to lose everything. Her job, her reputation, her friends. Trish tried to defend her at first, but then someone pointed out that Trish was probably helping with the plan, and she shut up real quick. And Ty? His business partner was in the bar. Soon as Ty admitted to the financial problems, the partner made a phone call. I'm guessing Ty's about to be bought out. Forcibly. I leaned against my truck, suddenly exhausted. It's done then. Not quite. You still have to actually divorce her. That'll be easy now. With this evidence, she won't fight it. She can't. Pete clapped me on the shoulder. You did good, Jack. Brutal, but good. I drove home alone, the house dark and empty. Monica wouldn't be coming back tonight, maybe not ever. I went to my sanctuary, locked the door, and sat in my recliner. My phone was blowing up with texts and calls, but I ignored them all. I'd deal with the fallout tomorrow. Tonight, I just wanted to sit in the peace I'd built for myself and enjoy the silence. The weekend was chaos. By Saturday morning, the story had spread through town like wildfire. Social media was ablaze with commentary, speculation, and no small amount of schadenfreude. Someone had recorded the stream from the bar on their phone and posted it online, where it had been viewed thousands of times. I stayed in my house, ignored my phone, and waited for the storm to pass. It didn't. Sunday afternoon, there was a pounding on my door. I opened it to find Trish standing there, looking like she'd aged 10 years in 2 days. You destroyed her, she said without preamble. She destroyed herself. She made a mistake. She's human. Did you have to humiliate her in front of the entire town? Yes, I said simply. She was planning to destroy me, to take everything I've built, and paint me as the villain. I just made sure everyone knew the truth before she could spin her narrative. You're a monster. Maybe, but I'm an honest monster. Can she say the same? Trish opened her mouth, closed it, then turned and walked away. Monday morning, I went to the shop. Big Mike and Gina were already there, along with half a dozen customers who'd apparently come by just to show their support. Jack, Mrs. Henderson, whose Buick I'd been maintaining for 15 years, rushed over and hugged me. We heard what happened. That awful woman. We're so glad you exposed her. Thank you, Mrs. Henderson. The day continued like that, customers coming by, some with work, some just to offer support or gossip. By lunch, I'd had to turn away 3 reporters who wanted to interview me about the motel scandal, as it was being called. Around 2 p.m., Lisa Cray stopped by. Got a minute? She asked. We went into my office, and she closed the door. Monica filed a police report, she said. Claims you illegally recorded her and invaded her privacy. My stomach clenched. But I informed her she was being recorded. She chose to stay. I know. I was there, remember? I told the chief exactly that. The report's going nowhere. But she's desperate, Jack. She's lost her job, her boyfriend dumped her, and she's about to lose her house. She's going to lash out. What should I do? Document everything. Every contact, every conversation. Get a lawyer, start the divorce proceedings immediately, and don't engage with her directly. Let the lawyers handle it. Already called a lawyer this morning. Good. And Jack, what you did was legal, but it was also pretty ruthless. You made a lot of people uncomfortable. Some folks think you went too far. Do you? She considered this. No, but I'm not everyone. Just watch your back, okay? After she left, I sat at my desk and stared at the wall. I'd won. I'd exposed Monica and Ty, protected my assets, and come out of this with my reputation intact. So why did I feel so empty? That evening, I was in my sanctuary when I heard glass breaking. I rushed out to find my living room window shattered, a brick lying in the middle of the floor with a note tied to it. Monster. I called the police, filed a report, and had the window boarded up. The responding officer told me they'd patrol my street more frequently, but there wasn't much else they could do. Tuesday brought more vandalism. My truck's tires slashed. Villain spray-painted on my garage door. The officer who responded was sympathetic, but admitted they had no leads. Could be Monica, he said. Could be someone who thinks you went too far. Could be random teenagers. Without video evidence, I installed security cameras that afternoon. Wednesday, Monica's lawyer contacted mine. She was contesting the divorce, claiming emotional distress, and demanding spousal support. My lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia Chen, laughed when she read the demands. She's got nothing, Patricia said. With the evidence you have, she'll be lucky to walk away with her personal belongings. I'll file a response rejecting all her claims. How long will this take? Depends on how hard she fights. Could be months. I just want it over. It will be. But Jack, you need to prepare yourself. This is going to get uglier before it gets better. She was right. Over the next 2 weeks, Monica launched a campaign to destroy what was left of my reputation. She went on social media, posted long, tearful videos about emotional abuse and manipulation, painted herself as the victim of a cruel husband who trapped and humiliated her. Some people believed her. Not many, but some. The shop lost a few customers. People who thought I'd gone too far or who felt uncomfortable supporting someone who'd publicly humiliated his wife. But for every customer I lost, 2 more showed up. People who appreciated honesty, who'd been through their own divorces, who understood that sometimes revenge was justified. The shop was actually doing better than ever. Ty, meanwhile, had disappeared. His business partner had bought him out for pennies on the dollar, and word was he'd left town entirely. Some said he'd gone to Florida, others said California. Nobody really cared. Monica was still around, though. She'd moved into a small apartment on the bad side of town, taken a job at a retail store, and spent her evenings posting bitter messages online about how men were trash and marriage was a scam. Trish had stopped talking to her after Monica had drunkenly accused her of not doing enough to help with the revenge plot. Turns out Trish had her own reputation to protect and didn't want to be associated with Monica's downfall. By the end of the month, Monica was isolated, broke, and bitter, and I felt nothing about it. That was the strangest part. I'd expected to feel triumphant, vindicated, maybe even guilty. But I just felt tired. One evening, I was at Callahan's having a beer when Pete slid onto the stool next to me. You okay, brother? Yeah, just thinking. About? About whether it was worth it. Pete was quiet for a moment. Did she deserve what happened to her? Yes. Did you do anything illegal or immoral? No, I just exposed the truth. Then it was worth it. Look, Jack, I've known you for 15 years. You're a good guy. You work hard, you treat people fairly, you don't start trouble. Monica tried to destroy you. She was planning to take everything you'd built and leave you with nothing. You just made sure everyone knew what she was really like before she could do it. Some people think I went too far. Some people are idiots. You want to know what I think? I think you did exactly what needed to be done. You protected yourself, you exposed a cheater and a con artist, and you came out on top. That's not villainy, Jack. That's survival. Then why do I feel like the bad guy? Because you're a good person, and good people feel guilty even when they've done nothing wrong. But let me ask you this. Do you regret it? I thought about Monica's face when she realized everyone had heard her confession. I thought about Ty's panic when he understood his con had been exposed. I thought about the crowd in the parking lot chanting, "Homewrecker." No, I said. I don't regret it. Then stop second-guessing yourself. You won. Enjoy it. The divorce was finalized 6 weeks later. Monica got nothing. No spousal support, no share of the business, no house. She walked away with her personal belongings and a reputation in tatters. I kept everything. The house, the business, my sanctuary, my peace. On the day the divorce was finalized, I went home, walked into my sanctuary, and sat in my recliner. I cracked open a beer, turned on the TV, and just sat there in the silence. No more Monica. No more drama. No more lies. Just peace. My phone buzzed with a text from Pete. "Congratulations, you're officially a free man. Drinks on me tonight." I smiled, texted back, "I'll be there." But first, I just wanted to sit in the space I'd built for myself and appreciate what I'd fought for. I'd lost a wife, but I'd gained something more valuable, my self-respect. And in the end, that was worth everything. Epilogue. 6 months later. 6 months after the divorce, life had settled into a comfortable rhythm. The shop was thriving. Big Mike had taken on more responsibilities, Gina had been promoted to shop manager, and we'd hired 2 new mechanics to handle the increased business. Apparently, being the guy who'd publicly exposed his cheating wife had made me something of a local legend, and people wanted to support that. The house was mine, fully and completely. I'd changed the locks, repainted the living room, and converted Monica's old craft room, the one that had never been used, into a proper guest room. Not that I had many guests, but it was nice to have the option. My sanctuary remained my favorite space. I'd upgraded the TV, added a better sound system, and installed a small bar in the corner. It was my refuge, my castle, my reward for surviving the war. Monica had left town 3 months ago. Last I heard, she'd moved to Ohio to live with her sister, taken a job at another hospital, and was trying to rebuild her life. I wished her well, in the abstract way you wish well to someone you used to know but no longer care about. Ty had resurfaced briefly on social media, posting gym selfies from somewhere in Nevada and acting like nothing had happened. The comments on his posts were brutal. Apparently, the video of his confession had followed him across state lines. He'd disabled comments after a week. Trish had tried to friend me on social media, probably looking for gossip or drama. I'd blocked her. Mrs. Calloway still watched everything from her window, but now she waved at me when I came home and occasionally brought over baked goods. Apparently, I'd gone from suspicious neighbor to neighborhood hero in her eyes. Lisa Cray and I had started having coffee occasionally, just as friends. She'd been promoted to sergeant and was dating a guy from the fire department. She seemed happy. Pete was still Pete, running his bar, dispensing wisdom, and serving as the unofficial therapist for half the town. As for me, I was content. I dated occasionally, nothing serious. Went to work, came home, spent time in my sanctuary, took up woodworking as a hobby, built a few pieces of furniture that weren't half bad. I'd become the villain in Monica's story, the monster who'd destroyed her life and humiliated her in front of everyone she knew. But in my story, I was the hero who'd refused to be destroyed, who'd fought back against betrayal and won. Perspective is everything. One Saturday evening, I was at Callahan's having a beer when a woman sat down next to me. Mid-30s, attractive, with an easy smile and intelligent eyes. "You're Jack Holbrook," she said. "Guilty." "I heard about what happened with your wife. That took guts. Or stupidity. Depending on who you ask." She laughed. "I'm Sarah. I just moved to town, took a job at the hospital, and before you ask, no, I didn't know your ex-wife. I started after